Hello, so I wanted to do a video today on solving equations with unknowns on both sides. So in order to do this, you need to be able to solve equations where there is an unknown on one side. So part one, for example, here, look, there is just an x on the left-hand side of the equation. There's no x over by the 20. Expanding brackets is also really important if you want to get to if you want to do the type 3 and type 4 questions that I'm going to have a look at. And also operations with negative numbers will allow you to get to the more tricky questions as well. So I have 4 examples to go through. This is the first one, so unlike this equation here, which 3x minus 7 equals 20, you'll see on this one there's an a on both sides. So we need to start by thinking, how can I turn this into an equation that I know how to solve? So the first thing I want you to do with these questions is to imagine when there is no sign in front of the a's, it means it's a positive number. A positive number meaning it's bigger than 0, as opposed to an add, which is adding something onto another number. So we've got positive 6 lots of a on the left hand side and positive 2 lots of a on the right hand side. So the first thing I want you to do is to choose the side that has the fewest a's on it, or the fewest whatever letter it is. This is the plus 2a, the positive 2a. So I want to do the inverse operation. I want to get rid of that positive 2a. So the first thing I'm going to do is take away 2a from the right hand side of the equation. Now with equations, remember, whatever you do to one side you have to do to the other. So I'm actually taking away 2a from both sides of the equation. If I do that, I'm doing 6 lots of a, take away 2 lots of a is going to give me 4 lots of a. You can't take away 2a from 23, so this 20 plus 23 remains the same. And on the right hand side of the equation, 2a, if I've got 2a and I take away 2a, that leaves me with nothing. So on the right hand side, all I've got left is that positive 27. Okay, so the next thing I need to worry about, I've got all my a's onto the left hand side now, so it actually now is looking a bit more similar to the questions you should know how to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to get rid of that positive 20, that plus 23. So in order to do that, I need to do the inverse operation. I'm going to take away 23 from this side, and when I do that, because it's an equation, I have to take away 23 from both sides to keep it balanced. So a lot of people might make the mistake of trying to do 4 take away 23 here, but you can't do that because this is a 4a, not just a 4. So on the left hand side, I've still got 4a. That plus 23 and that minus 23 will cancel each other out and make 0. And on the right hand side of the equation, I've got positive 27 and I'm taking away 23. So that leaves me with 4. This now tells me, because there's an invisible times in between here, remember, 4 lots of a, 4 times a equals 4. So the next thing I need to do is to divide both sides by the number in front of the a. So in this case, that's 4. It's just a coincidence that that's a 4 and on the right hand side of the 4 as well. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 4a divided by 4 gives me 1 lot of a, but in maths we just write a. That means 1 lot of a. And then on the right hand side, 4 divided by 4, how many 4s are there in 4? That's 1. So the solution to our first example is a equals 1. And if you wanted to, you could always just double check it by substituting a equals 1 back into this equation. So 6 lots of a would be 6 plus 23, well that gives me 29. On the right hand side, 2 lots of a, that's 2, plus 27, that also gives me 29. So we know that our solution is correct. Okay, example 2 isn't too much more tricky, but it does throw people off. So both of these equations, both of these x's in this case, are positive, so I can write those in. Now we're going to choose the side with the fewest x's on it. So the left hand side has 3 lots of x, the right hand side has 5 lots of x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to get rid of this 3x. And if I do that, I'm going to be left with, well, those would cancel each other out. I'm just going to be left with positive 14 on the left hand side. 5x take away 3x gives me 2x on the right hand side, and then that plus 2. As soon as you've done that, what you can then do is you're looking for this plus 2. You've got all the x's on one side, now you want to get all the numbers on the other side. So to do that, that positive 2, that plus 2, you want to take away 2 from this side of the equation. Therefore, you have to do it to this side of the equation as well. So if I've got positive 14 and I take away 2, that leaves me with positive 12 is equal to 2x. Now you'll notice this is the other way round to these questions here. That doesn't matter. So we're now going to divide two lots of x, 2 lots of a number is equal to 12. So to find out what that original number was, I'm going to divide this side by 2. And if I do that, I also have to divide this side by 2. Positive 12 divided by 2 gives me positive 6. 2 lots of x divided by 2 gives me 1 lot of x, or x. This and this are the same thing. You might see it written either way round. If you would prefer, what you can do with these questions, the side with the fewest letters for this example was the left hand side. You could, if you wanted to, put this bit on the left hand side and 3x plus 14 on the right hand side. That might make it a little bit easier, because remember, equals means is the same as, so I can swap the two things around. But yeah, that's your solution. X equals 6. Okay, these questions, they look a bit more tricky because they have brackets in them, but you can turn them into a question like question 1 and 2. This is why I said at the start you need to be able to expand brackets, because to turn this into a problem where there aren't any brackets, we're going to expand them. So we're going to start by doing that. 2 lots of 6m gives you 12m. And then this isn't 2 plus 1, this is 2 multiplied by positive 1. So 2 times, I want you to include the sign when you do this multiplication. 2 multiplied by positive 1 gives me plus 2. That's the left hand side. We're going to do the same on the right hand side. 5 times 4m would give you 20m. And then we're going to do 5 times negative 6. Not 5 take away 6. 5 times negative 6, which is going to give you negative 30. As soon as you've done that, you've turned it into a question like the ones we've done before. Choose the side with the fewest m's on it. That's this side here. That's a positive 12m. That's a positive 20m. So this is stopping you from having just the 2 over on this side of the equation. So we're going to take away 12m from this side, and therefore we also have to take away 12m from this side. 12m take away 12m just gives you nothing, 0. So on the left hand side we're only left with positive 2. And then we're going to do 20 lots of m take away 12m is going to be positive 8 lots of m. And then negative 30, we can't take away 12 from negative 30 because we're taking away 12m. That's the m's we're taking away, not the numbers. So this bit here becomes positive 2 equals positive 8m take away 30. We now want to get rid of this bit because that's stopping us from just having the m's on the right hand side of the equation. So we're going to add 30. The inverse of negative 30 of take away 30 is plus 30. So I'm going to do that to both sides. So on the left hand side I'm left with positive 2 plus 30 gives me positive 32. And on the right hand side of the equation I've got positive 8 lots of m. We are now going to divide because this means 8 lots of m, so I want to divide both sides by, in this case, positive 8. So on the left hand side of the equation, we're dividing by positive 8, not negative 8. So on the left hand side of the equation, I'm doing 32 divided by 8 will give me 4. And on the right hand side of the equation, 8 lots of m divided by 8 would give me m. So in this case, m is 4. And that's it. That's our answer to that one. Finally, one more. This one looks quite tricky because it has fractions involved in it. So that is the first thing I want to get rid of. So this means the answer to the left hand side means 2u plus 9. Whatever the answer is to that, we have divided it by 3. I don't like the fact that there's a fraction there. So to undo dividing by 3, we need to times both sides of the equation by 3. Now, the left-hand side, if I multiply the whole thing by 3, all that does is gets rid of the denominator, because it undoes that dividing by 3. So the numerator, we don't times that by 3. We are just left with 2u plus 9. On the right-hand side, if we multiply that by 3, because this isn't a 3, the way we write that is 3 lots of everything on the numerator. Not just 3 lots of 4, it's 3 times the whole lot of 4u take away 7, which is why I've put that in brackets. We do still, however, have that divided by 5 on that side. So I now want to, we're getting one step closer, one thing at a time. I now want to get rid of that, because that whole thing, 3 lots of 4u minus 7, and then we've divided by 5 because of BIDMAS or BODMAS. That dividing by 5 is the last thing we would have done. So to undo that dividing by 5, I'm going to times that side by 5. And if I do that, I have to times this side by 5 as well. That means 5 lots of everything on the left-hand side, which is why I'm now going to put that in brackets. It's not just 5 times 2u, it's 5 times the whole bracket. Now, on the right-hand side, if I've multiplied this side by 5, remember the whole point of me doing that was to get rid of the divided by 5 bit at the end. So I now have 3 lots of 4u minus 7. Now it becomes a question just like the example 3 I did, this one here, where we have just brackets and numbers on both sides. So I'm now going to expand the bracket. 5 lots of 2u gives me 10u. 5 lots of positive 9, not 5 plus 9, gives me plus 45. And then on the right hand side, 3 lots of 4u gives you 12u. And then 3 lots of negative 7 gives you negative 21. And both of these are positive numbers, positive 10u and positive 12u. We're going to choose the side with the fewest number of u's on it. So the left-hand side has 10u, the right-hand side has 12u. It's therefore this one that I want to get rid of. So I need to do the inverse of plus 10u. So I'm going to take away 10u from this side, and therefore I also need to take away 10u from that side. On the left-hand side of the equation, positive 10u take away 10u gives me nothing. So I'm just left with a positive 45 on the left-hand side. And then positive 12u take away 10u will give me 2 lots of u, and 21 stays the same. Each step we do is getting us closer to our answer and making the calculation that little bit more easy. So what we're going to do now is we've got all the u's on the right hand side, so therefore we want to put all the numbers on the left hand side. It's this bit that's causing me a problem now, so I want to do the inverse of take away 21, and therefore I'm going to add 21 to both sides. If I do that, on the left hand side of the equation, 45 plus 21 gives me 66. and on the right hand side of the equation I'm going to be left with 2u, and then that negative 21 plus 21 would cancel out, so that's it. Then finally, just to finish off the equation, I want two lots of a number equals 66, so to find out what one lot of that number is, we're going to divide by the number in front of the letter, and therefore positive 66 divided by 2 gives you positive 33, and then two lots of u divided by 2 will give you one lot of u, or u. So my answer is 33 equals u, or u equals 33. Either is acceptable. Okay, so what I'm going to do now very quickly is just show you another question generator that I've made. So you can generate lots of questions. We've only done positive solutions where the letter is equal to a positive number, but if you're feeling confident, you can try it with negative solutions, or you can try a mixture. At the minute it's set to an increasing difficulty level, but what you can do is get all of the first type of questions of the first type of question. You could get 4 of any of each of the types of question, or you can get a mix of questions. So once you've got the hang of all 4 difficulty levels, you can get a mixture of all of them where I don't tell you what type of question it is, and you've got to figure it out and work your way through it. When you open this file, there will be a yellow ribbon at the top. You must click a little box in there that says either enable content or enable macros. If you don't do that, the buttons won't work. You can get all the answers at once, or you can get them individually. So I'll put a link to that file in the description so you can download it and have a go yourself. That's it. Thanks very much for watching. I hope it was useful. Bye bye.